Okay, so we are with Ria, who is a dental student by day, and otherwise, her moonlight gig is showing people around the parts of Lucknow that you wouldn't see. Now, obviously, it's a strange thing to see such an old city, which Ria says goes back as far as the Ramayana, and of course, there are a couple of versions of that story. Let's hear your version.
Okay, तो पहली चीज कि लखनऊ में किस्से बहुत चलते हैं.
Okay.
So one of such kissa comes from era of Ramayana itself. So when Ram came back to Ayodhya after his exile, so it is said that he settled his properties and lands, whatever they own, among all the brothers. So this particular area was given to Lakshmanji, his younger brother. So from there it came into being called as Lucknow, which translates to belonging to Lakhan. Lakhan being Lakshman.
So what made you start doing tours of the city, and your speciality, so to speak, is not going by the big monuments, the places tourists usually go?
Not the major monuments. I have been born and brought up in Lucknow all my life. Then came college, I started showing people around. They kind of liked it. So I started doing this as a side gig. Now, coming to why I show people not the major monuments, is because, everyone talks about kings and queens and all the golds and jewels, but no one talks who came into making them. No one talks about the local people. No one talks about the people who lived there along with the kings and queens. There are common people too, and we need to know their story as well. Otherwise, who is going to talk about them?
That's such an incredible perspective, and I think that comes from you being so young, and I think Gen Zs need to challenge the conformed way of doing things, but it's so cool that you're doing that. Where to first?
Alright, so we're gonna go around the street of Hazratganj, and I will tell you what it is and how it came into being. So, do you see this monument?
Yes.
So, this is from where we were essentially going to start the Hazratganj street. Okay, so I will start from the very beginning. Okay, so when Asif ud-Daula came to Lucknow, right, he bought his capital from Faizabad to Lucknow in 1775. Right, so when he came here, he saw that there was a famine in the city. So there was a lot of working that had to be done here. Now, cut to after Lucknow was annexed in 1856, this place was completely demolished. Why? Because there happened a war here. So this war was called the Begum Koti War.
Okay.
The Queen Mother of Awadh lived in the Begum Koti. That was her residence. So when the rebels started against British, when the mutiny started, that broke this place into little patches and parcels. After the wars were done, British has taken over the city. Now this place particularly was remodeled. Do you see there is a color coordination in the street?
Yeah, all the signs are black and white.
All the signs are black and the walls are colored slightly beige. Right. So this street was remodeled to look exactly like Queen Streets in London. This remodeling happened in 1857. After 200 years in 2010, this was again redone. So this particular street was once not for native Indian people. It wasn't allowed for them to step on this street.
What do you mean native people weren't allowed?
This place, after being remodeled, were taken by British officials. So they made their clubs here, they made their offices and homes. So this whole street was British occupied. Now they didn't want native Indian to, walk the same streets as they did.
Wow.
Right. So post 9 p.m., no Indian citizens, native Indians could walk through these streets.
Why 9 p.m.?
Okay. Why 9 p.m. is because, these streets had workers, cooks, maids and chefs who would do that. Those are all Indian people. So they had to come in, early in the morning. So they do their work, stay there, clean up their work, everything, fix all the breakfast, lunches and everything. By the time you go home, now the British officials are also free. So they would want to roam around their streets. So now Indian people cannot go there. So they will have to take a street behind the main street. So you will see multiple kinds of architecture in Lucknow. 3 basic architectures that you will see very prominently along all these streets and all the major monuments is you will see Persian architecture, Nawabi architecture. Persian Nawabi makes the Indo-Islamic architecture. You will see European architecture, the colonial British architecture with giant arches, but with symmetry. no patterns on those arches. Now the third kind, not very prominent but still present, is the Maratha.
What?
Yes. So you know how in Lucknow we call Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb.
Mm-hmm.
Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb basically, in Hindi translates into people who live on the banks of Ganga and Jamuna. They come together in peace and they reside together without any conflicts, without any complications, right?
Also, is that why there are Marathi tea shops in the bylanes?
Yeah, yes.
So our entire crew is Marathi,
Wow.
and they were shocked yesterday when we were walking through the bylanes, and there were 3 tea shops back to back that specialized in making gur chai, which was a Marathi thing. It's actually so cool. I know that there's Mughal influence, there is the British influence, but the fact that there is Maratha style architecture as far as Lucknow is one of the most incredible things that I don't think most of the people in our audience would know. Okay, so where to next?
So now we will see Keval tea stall. It's called Ram Keval tea stall. So usually everyone knows about Sharma tea stall. It's world famous. You could Google Lucknow and Sharma tea stall.
Yeah, we did exactly that. We went and had a bucket of tea at Sharma tea stall.
So now I will take you to someplace else.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is Ram Keval tea stall. It's not as old as Sharma tea stall, but you will see a special kind of tea brewing there. And we will take you to Kolkata from the ride being here in Lucknow. And we will show you the special tea, how it is brewed, and what are these special things that they make in their menu. These are they home make it. Special kind of butter. Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, people love one makhan. But they serve a special kind of makhan there. That is white makhan instead of your usual Amul butter, yellow butters, right?
Perfect.
So
You said 2 things that I love. I am from Calcutta, so I'm interested to see the influence. And I love butter, so let's do this.
Lucknow as a city was was broken into pieces, to shambles before being rebuilt.
And multiple times.
Multiple times.
And what we're looking at right now are the fragments that are
The
survived.
fragments of.
So where to next?
Now we'll go right.
You still have to tell me why it's called the Residency
Right.
and why it was created and what makes it so cool.
Okay, so I told you about how Treaty of Lucknow was to be signed, but it happened twice, but it couldn't be completed in the first time because the ruler died. The Nawab then died. So now we move to Saadat Ali Khan II. That was the son of Wajid Ali Shah. Right. So now Saadat Ali Khan, he was pro-British.
Oh.
So now Saadat Ali Khan signed the Treaty of Lucknow. Now, what did the Treaty of Lucknow had? So, Treaty of Lucknow, it is called the Treaty of Awadh because it was the capital of Awadh. So, Treaty of Awadh said that they will have to keep one British officer, one British Crown member in their court.
Okay.
Now, this British member will have to live somewhere.
Correct.
So, now this British resident has to live and he needs a place, and that place was the residence.
Does it have a local name or is it
No, it's
just
called
called?
the Residence.
That is so. We're talking one house for a person of the royal family,
Of the British Crown.
of the British Crown. Okay.
Instead of being one nice apartment like you would think, it is a 49-acre big land. It was like a big area because he brought his wife, his children. Now wife means workers. He had a personal doctor, so you also have a doctor's house inside. So this place has everything in it. It was called Lucknow Ka Apna London. It's still, some people call it that. And you will see how it resembles the architecture of London and the church. It has a certain remains of church that was more of the Gothic architecture you see here and neoclassical Gothic architecture.
That's so cool. So where are we going? Which is the one spot that you would choose?
I think Gopinagar, the riverfront. That area has been these recently remodeled. So there was this one place called Chatori Gali. It
Okay.
was every Lucknow's favorite spot for street food. So
Okay.
it was 2 streets covered of full-on street food, anything that you could think of, from momos to chaat to tikki, everything. Right. So now it has been thoda sa remodeled.
Okay, let's head there. Damn, that was one of the best meals of my life. I wouldn't have risked it on my own, but I'm so glad that you took me there.
I'm so glad you liked it.
You're taking me to the hidden Imam Bara, but for the hidden Imam Bara to be a hidden treasure, Chote and Bade Imam Baras had to come first. Tell me a little about that and why they're so central to the history and culture that is Lucknow.
Right. So, Bada Imam Bara. So when Asfatullah came to Lucknow and made Lucknow as the capital of Awadh, he saw that there was a famine here. The public was dying of plague and famine. Right. So as a famine relief project, Asfatullah started the construction of Bada Imam Bara and Rumi Darwaza simultaneously.
Okay. What does Imam Bara mean?
So Imam Bara, it is made of 2 words, Imam and Bara. Imam is a religious leader for the Muslim community, right? And Bara means a place, a palace. Basically a palace where the Imam would reside. एक line कही जाती थी कि जिसको ना दे मौला उसको दे आसिफुद्दौला. Story behind this is it was made and broken 11 times before completing the structure. So I think you would be aware of the concept of haram in Islam.
Correct.
So when there was famine, the Nawab couldn't give off food for free because they cannot eat food for free without working for it.
Yeah.
Right. So to counter that, he asked people to build this Imam Bara and make whatever they can. Now, I know that not everyone is a craftsman, not everyone is an artisan, not everyone can build. So Nawab offered that the people who couldn't do anything would come down at the night and break the place down. And in the morning, again the place would be rebuilt. So it's said so that it happened so 11 times that the Imam Bara was built and broken down at night and built again until the famine had settled.
That's incredible. So, you have to tell me the significance of the Rumi Darwaza. I mean, we know why it was built now, but what's the significance?
So, Rumi Darwaza marks the entrance for people into Lucknow. So, back then, the boundary, the main door for entrance into Lucknow was the Rumi Darwaza. So, the word Rumi comes from Roman. So, you would see a lot of Roman architecture inculcated in the structures. You'd see some clove-like pointing out structures coming out of the door. So that shows the blend of Indian craftsmanship with the Roman architecture.
Oh, that's crazy. But why Roman?
Nawab was really fond of different types of architecture. And so he tried to inculcate some of it into everything that he did. Different.
That is so. So this morning when we were on our way to pick you up, I saw a board that said Muskaraiye Aap Lucknow Mein. And after having spent this day seeing the niche offbeat places that Lucknow has to offer, and of course the main attractions as well, I understand it. I'm leaving with a smile. And like you said, you could leave Lucknow, but Lucknow never really leaves you. It's something that I'll probably remember going forward for the rest of my life. Thank you so much for this day and showing us this very offbeat, off Google, off the internet, offline side of Lucknow that I wouldn't have gotten to see had it not been for you.
I'm so glad you joined me.